And at exactly 42 minutes after the hour, 42 minutes after the hour, feeling like Galloway on 99 Sinker right here at WBAI. Yo, Don the Bar, how you feeling this morning?
I'm awake and I'm nervous watching the sky.
Hey, talk to me, baby. Did they start pouring the sand and the cement on the sand on Nippong's meltdown?
Yeah, they're still trying to pour water on it and it's not working.
Get out of it. They're still pissing on it, right?
Yeah, not even.
That's
they've only got 50 guys left, and I don't think that's enough water to provide a solid urine sample, let alone to put out 8 reactors, what we're talking about, that are involved at the site.
Well, let me ask you something. Those 50 guys, are they unionized? They should be walking off the job, man.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Those people, those are the
Get
50
that Wisconsin spirit. Go ahead.
The 50 bravest human beings on the planet right now.
Suicide.
They're trying to spend, they're committing suicide to protect us from being extinct.
Yo, what's that thing when you take the samurai and you stick it in your stomach and you go right to left or left to right?
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, let me tell you,
talking
about suicide.
Yeah.
A week before the tsunami, there was a decision in the Southern District Federal Court in New York. There was a lawsuit that was brought by Richard Brodsky and some environmental groups that challenged the Nuclear Regulatory Commission decision to waive a requirement that the wiring for the emergency power to shut down Indian Point in the event of an accident there, they arbitrarily and unilaterally reduced the requirement that the wire last for an hour. So that it provides power for just an hour. That's where it was before. So it's down to 24 minutes now. The lawsuit was brought by Richard Brodsky and 3 environmental groups.
Great.
It was dismissed without a trial. It was dismissed on summary motion on March 4th.
Right.
So they're allowed to do that. And a week later, we see what happens. And I just found out there was an article this past week by Elizabeth Colbert in New Yorker magazine. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission's glossary of atomic-related words and terms does not include meltdown. They have no word for it in their regulatory scheme.
Are you crazy?
No, that's what we're working with here. So there was this 41-page decision that was taken on the 4th by a judge in the Southern District, Loretta Preska. And I again, dismissing this lawsuit without even having a trial. So I did a little searching, and I found out that Elizabeth Preska, who's married to an attorney named Thomas Cavalier at Cahill, Gordon, and Rindell. Her husband actually represented Westinghouse in litigation regarding a Westinghouse plant in the Philippines. In other words, he's represented nuclear power companies before. And she's the one that decided that this didn't even warrant a trial. And as far as what the people at GE, what they think, in 1976, the 3 top nuclear engineers resigned.
Yeah, I saw it on television coming into the studio this morning.
The statement they made was, we did so because we could no longer justify devoting our life energies to the continued development and expansion of a system we believe to be so dangerous that it now threatens the very existence of life on this planet. These are the guys who designed some of these plants.
Right, and they were specifically talking about the one that is melting down right now.
That's right, that's correct.
1 through 6.
Yep. So,
GE brings good things to life. Go ahead.
GE brings right. So the whole situation over there is frightening. I mean, you have a total of 8 reactors and 8 spent fuel pools there.
Yeah.
And they're already they're burning off at several reactors all kinds of radiotoxins into the atmosphere.
Yep.
And if you look at the distribution maps after Chernobyl, immediately there were readings. In fact, the way it was discovered was there were readings in milk in Northern Europe that were picked up. I think in Finland was the first place where they picked up dangerous levels of radioactivity. This is across the European continent. I mean, this is outside Kiev, is where the Pripyat in Ukraine is where the Chernobyl plant was.
Right,
and
right.
That's in the south part of Europe, south belly of Europe, and this is all the way up in the north end, and it was a matter of days. There was radioactivity, high levels of radioactivity detected in London, which is quite a distance, and we've got California sitting there waiting, and the LA Times today, has a headline that says radiation from Japan will reach California Friday, no danger seen. And we've got, all these politicians, from President Obama to Chuck Schumer, all saying, hey, look, we'll learn from this, and we're going to move ahead. And they plan to build more plants. And, you have pending relicensing of 30-year-old and 40-year-old plants, including Indian Point right now. They want to extend the licenses another 20 years there. And the same commission that doesn't even have the word meltdown in its vocabulary is the one that's reviewing this.
Now, I heard that the Americans, the imperialist Americans, are sending big planes over there to pick up their citizens.
Yep.
Because they're sure that it's going to blow over to San Francisco, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't think anyone's sure of anything except that the situation right now is really bad.
It's really, really, really bad. Don DeBar from upstate, should I say upstate or up the Hudson? Where are you now? Where are you now?
They're both true.
Yeah, yeah. Anything happening in Newburgh, my favorite town?
Well, I haven't been paying much attention since last Friday. I've been monitoring the Times Herald Record, and I guess we're waiting on the sentencing of the Newburgh Four still. Outside of that, there's the usual rough and tumble political stuff going on there. But
right.
But obviously the big thing right now is humanity, and no one's raising this question, but this is a real question: is humanity going to survive what is happening right now in Japan? That's on the table.
I know. And meanwhile, the Libyan situation, you're right on point. The last time you dropped some surprising analysis on that situation, there's prospect of a deadly siege, according to the New York Times this morning, the prospect of a deadly siege of the rebel stronghold in Benghazi, Libya, has produced a striking shift in the tone from His Imperialist Majesty the First Obama's administration, which is now pushing for the United Nations to authorize, you ready for this?
Airstrikes.
How did you know? Bombing, airstrikes, nuking, whatever. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, the situation did not go the way they were portraying it, and I knew that was true because even if there was an indigenous aspect to the rebellion in Libya, it was clear from the beginning that with the weapons that they had, and the other cute thing I think I mentioned last week was the fact that there was the 1969 flag was every place that they had cameras, and they weren't 40-year-old flags that were tattered and folded with cigarette stains and stuff on them, but they were all brand new.
Yeah.
And they weren't manufactured. I didn't see a single one of those in Libya when I was there in 2009. Somebody made those. I'm assuming the same Chinese company that makes American flags for us, and it was clear that there was the imprimatur of the U.S. On that whole process at the time.
Right.
Well, when you're going to have an action against a country where you are trying to coordinate external military action with an internal uprising, you have to have the conditions for the uprising, or it's not sustainable. And they didn't. It was clear that this was not a broad-based indigenous rebellion against the government, but rather some elements that had grievances and then a whole lot of propaganda and some extrinsic military support.
Yeah.
And so now it's naked, and so now they're talking about, well, let's just go in and start and blow up their ground, air, and naval forces. Let's take out their military. Did
you see Clinton in Cairo when they told her to go to hell? The progressive people that started the uprising in Cairo, and also they shouted at her and said, "What about Libya? What about
That's
Libya?
Right.
You know,
well,
what are you
people
doing
look
here?"
at the other side. Al Jazeera, which is based in Qatar, which is one of those monarchies, and Al Arabiya, which is based in Saudi Arabia, which is another one of those monarchies that the United States backs and has substantial holdings in. Those are the two countries that surround Bahrain, and so the Saudis and the Qataris invade Bahrain, and the United States is asking them, for restraint. This is, they cross national boundaries, and yet they want to bomb Libya because the military there is protecting its own, territorial integrity. It's just like the standard is entirely different, and Clinton just goes from one to the other almost seamlessly, except for the complete obvious contradiction when she speaks about it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Lahore, Pakistan, remember where that cat, the CIA operative, murdered all these people?
He got loose.
Lied about it. I don't believe this. A security officer, CIA pig, jailed for killing 2 Pakistanis on a crowded Lahore street, was released on Wednesday after weeks of a top secret El Presidente Obama negotiation between America and Pakistan officials, a pledge of millions of dollars. Is it Zimbabwe dollars? Blood money to the victims and their families for the release of this pig. I mean, this is horrible.
What they did too, they manipulated Sharia law, which they rail against. The right wing here rails against and holds up the threat of Sharia law here in the United States. But they used qisas and diyat, which are 2 aspects of it,
right,
for this blood money, basically, that got paid to 18 relatives.
Meanwhile, El Presidente Barack holds 79 odd people down in Guantanamo Bay who did absolutely nothing.
That's right.
What's going on here?
Well, take a look. You still have our friend, naked in his cell here in the United States. Forget Guantanamo. U.S. citizen on U.S. territory.
Yeah. And they fired a guy for calling the Pentagon stupid for their action and the CIA stupid for their action, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the intelligence forces we have here. They can't stand to hear the truth.
Yeah.
It tells you how effective they're going to be.
All right, Don DeBar, anything you want to add? Do it right now, because we're going to wrap it up right here.
I'd like to suggest to everyone, if you want to stay on top of the situation with the nuclear situation in Japan and its effects here, you go to Facebook and look up Carl Grossman. It's with a K, K-A-R-L, Grossman, G-R-O-S-S-M-A-N.
Yeah.
He's an expert that lives in Long Island. He's been posting steadily all kinds of information, and I have also been posting his stuff and other stuff at my Facebook webpage, which is Don DeBar, D-O-N-D-E-B-A-R.
Great. Don, you're a hero right here at 99 Cinco. And we do that next week, same place, in WUSB on a Saturday. And Aswad, for your tune call, I don't want to be no nuclear soldier. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you, my brother. You take care and be well, okay?
All right, it's a pleasure. And give my love to your wife, Don.
Same.
Take care. Don DeBar from up the river. Aswad for Don DeBar. It was a pleasure, hot and stiff. Same place next week. 3 until 5. See ya.
I don't want to see no nuclear soldier. I don't want to see no nuclear soldier. I don't want to see no nuclear in this time.
5 minutes to 5. Al Jazeera comes up next.
Yes, Lord. Digital intelligence. Unnecessary violence.